This is the Big Deal Podcast, brought to you and powered by New Covenant Baptist Church in Albertville, Alabama. And on this podcast, we're asking the question, what's the big deal about all things Bible, theology, and culture related? I'm Justin.
I'm Brad.
Welcome to the Big Deal. Brad, how you doing, man?
I'm kind of sleepy today. I got to wake up. I got my coffee here.
Yeah. We told Brad last week that his job is to drink lots of coffee and be hilarious. Okay.
No pressure.
No pressure. That's your job on this podcast. And answer all the Bible questions. Be super smart.
Oh, man. I can do all of those things.
I got a question for you. We're going to start it off with a fun little question here. Break all that ice up.
Let's do it.
All right. If you could live in any fictional world, what would it be and why?
Oh, this is so bad.
It's bad? What are you going to choose?
It's like picking your favorite kid. I don't know. There's a lot of worlds you don't want to live in.
That's easier for you, I think.
Which ones I don't want to live in?
No, picking your favorite kid.
No.
I'm just kidding. Brad does not have a favorite kid. Yeah.
So, like, you think all the Dungeons and Dragons world, as fun as that is,
yeah,
they're right out. Those places are horribly
They're
dangerous.
horrible. Orcs running around everywhere.
There's monsters everywhere. It's awful.
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson worlds are all ugly.
They're super ugly.
They're super ugly.
Desolate wastelands.
I love those books, but I can't live there.
Yeah.
I want to live in the Shire.
The Shire.
Yes.
You want to go fishing?
I want to go fishing
and
and
eat
cakes
Yeah.
with Bilbo. Yeah.
Drink tea.
It's so nice in the Shire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And mushrooms.
Yes, they are great cooks. They make beer.
Yeah.
They like have tobacco, pipe weed, and they just like to do their gardens.
Yeah, that's a nice place.
It's a nice place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other places there in Middle Earth are massively dangerous, and if you
Mordor would stink. I would not be a
It
fan of
literally
that.
stinks.
Yeah.
If you landed in the wrong era or the wrong part of the age, because Morgoth ruled for a while. It's bad.
Rivendell, though,
Rivendell,
beautiful.
but they don't seem as fun as hobbits. Honestly,
Now elves are
one of you
total
must do this.
buzzkill,
I mean, it's
man.
like, come on, man,
no fun
come on,
at all.
Elrond.
Yeah,
you can't short sheet Elrond's bed. You could do that to a hobbit.
you could. He would just look at you disapprovingly.
Yeah, it would be disappointed.
Yeah.
You don't know. Elves are no fun, man.
That's so funny.
I could live with dwarves.
Yeah,
They're fun.
but depends on which era too.
Yeah,
you don't want to be living in the mines of Moria. You know,
call it your mine.
In the deep. All right. So now we know. I think I would choose. I would choose Venus, Paralandra.
Oh, really?
I would. It's beautiful. It's literally paradise.
But there's nobody there. There's 3 people.
This is my
one of them's the devil.
It would be like, you're right. You are right.
I'm right.
You're right. How it's presented is lonely. It's no fun.
It would be a nice place to vacation. It would be a terrible place to live.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
But I still think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's true.
And I can't read it and not long for it because it's Eden. It's like a picture of paradise, heaven.
Nobody there, man.
Yeah, but there's no one there yet. But there would be.
Yeah. So what's your second? Since your first was such a
my
flop?
second. My first one was a huge flop. How ridiculous! Yeah.
Stupid. Golly. What are you doing?
It's hard to beat the Shire.
Oh, yay.
I know it. Yeah.
We're going to drink ale with the Proudfoot's
Hobbiton Ale. Yeah. All right. Super fun. We can't go to the Shire though. We're stuck in Albertville, which is right after the Shire.
It's like Shire Albertville.
The other day, everyone, we were watching the Fellowship of the Ring with our buddy. Shout out Austin Squires and Eric.
Yeah.
Duke. Eric Duke. Yeah.
I didn't know where he's going.
I was about to say Eric Squires. That's not right. That's not his last name. Shout out to them. We were watching the Fellowship of the Ring and, all the scenery for the Shire. We were like, man, that could be Albertville. Oh. That's what Albertville looks like, the Shire.
It's true.
It is a beautiful country up here, man.
Mountains. The Appalachian Mountains are so underrated.
They are. The foothill area that we're in, they call it the Mountain Lake area. It's beautiful, man.
Second largest man-made lake in the United States.
The Gunnersville is really.
Gunnersville Lake.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's beautiful up here.
Bassmasters go out every year. I caught 11-pound bass out there one time. True story.
I've never caught 11 pounds of fish, period.
I caught it in one cast.
All of the fish I've caught put together don't equal 11 pounds.
And when he come out of the water, it looked like I'd snagged a 5-gallon bucket. His mouth was so big.
Golly.
I was like, what is happening right now?
Good for you, man.
It's panic.
Yeah.
And I had it mounted. And when I moved, I put it, it went under the bed, when spots and stuff. And my puppy got under my bed and ate it.
Oh, man.
Whoops-a-daisy.
Whoops-a-daisy.
Yeah.
I bet it was yummy. It's like jerky.
Well, I walked
jerky.
in my room and I heard, it sounded like somebody eating potato chips. I'm like, what is going on?
It
was eating that fish. Yeah.
All right. So we've been going through the narrative of the Bible, and we've talked about Garden of Eden, creation, talked about Cain and Abel, and we've kind of situated ourselves right on chapter 6 with the flood. This is the beginning of the story of Noah in the flood. Classic, iconic. Right? There's murals of this in every nursery and Baptist churches all over the United States.
Little giraffes walking up the plank.
Yeah. Walking
the kids are like, look at all the pretty animals in the rainbow.
It's like
everybody died, kid. Children. It was like in the Titanic.
Yeah.
You know, it's an old movie. Yeah. But like when they're in the Titanic and there's those old people in the bed and they're like holding each other and the water's slowly filling up and it's like, this is a horror. So that's the story we tell to our children.
I know it. What's lacking from the murals is like the bodies floating in the water surrounding the ark. Oh my god.
People scratching at the outside.
So it's kind of a funny thing. Like right off the bat, we're prepared to see it as like a cutesy animal story. This is basically the Bible zoo. Yeah. Right? But it's reality of it,
a horror movie.
This is a horrible moment.
Yes,
for human history. This is awful.
Awful.
This is bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. Hey, but we're skipping something.
We are. We're going to get into it all. I just want to set the stage for what we're building towards.
Yeah.
That's
death and destruction.
Yeah, death and destruction. So let's get into it. This is chapter 6, and we're going to try to read it narratively.
It's a new word we invented. It's Greek, and it means we're going to read it as a narrative.
As a narrative is what we have. You can't get the suffixes in there.
Yeah.
All right. So chapter 6 is kind of home to, man, a lot of argument.
I can't wait.
It's not like there's nothing super important, I think, hanging on it, but there's a lot of mystery that people have tried to get answered.
It's because the Bible doesn't tell us.
It doesn't. It's not explicit.
It just says stuff and leaves it alone. Yep. And we, with our creative brains, are like, oh, I wonder what that was like.
Yeah. That's right. And so let's read it. When mankind began to multiply on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of mankind were beautiful, and they took any they chose as wives for themselves. All right. That's 2 verses right there that are kind of weird. So there's like a history of interpretation on this, right? Kind of explain some of that.
Well, it gets even more weirder.
Yeah, I guess we can read the rest of it.
Because you got to talk about the Nephilim.
Okay, I'll read the whole thing.
Yeah.
At verse 3, and the Lord said, my spirit will not remain with mankind forever because they are corrupt. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth both in those days and afterward, when the sons of God came to the daughters of mankind who bore children to them. They were the powerful men of old, the famous men. All right, so
that's important.
It is. There's just a history of interpretation here where things like it's in there. I guess probably 2 ways it's interpreted.
Well, first of all, it's this weird word Nephilim is what throws the whole thing off.
It's what do they call that? Where it's only like
they call it. We don't know what this word means.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it looks like it means like fallen ones or giants.
Nephal is Hebrew for fallen.
It sort of moves the interpretation in a negative direction because it sounds like fallen ones means that they're from Nephal.
Yeah, that's right.
That they are bad guys.
Bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got sons of God and daughters of men. It kind of sounds like a apposition like these aren't the same thing.
That's right. The sons of God saw the daughters of mankind were beautiful, and they took any they chose as wives for themselves.
So what are these and what's going on? And it's comes right before the flood narrative.
Yeah.
And in the midst of it, God's like, I'm not going to live with them more than 120 years.
Yeah, that's right. It's like this is setting the stage for his decree in this next passage where he says, I regretted that I made man on the earth.
Yikes. Let's get that, man.
Yeah. We'll get to there. So who are the sons of God? Who do you think the sons of God are?
You want me to tell you who I think, or what the three classic interpretations are first?
Give me the three classic, and then we'll get your take on it.
So classically, the most fun one, where you could write like sci-fi books on it or fantasy books, I don't know which way you go with it, is that the sons of God are angelic beings who produced people with humans. And so the Nephilim are like half angel creatures that are evil. Yeah. It's like demonic things.
Yeah.
And then, so that's number one. Number two is these are ancient kings. The sons of God are ancient tyrants who ruled over mankind. So they see sons of God as a sort of title for a tyrannical king, and they've got some like ancient texts that they use that with, because often like pharaohs and people would claim that they were children of God.
They all did, yeah. Every one of the ancient kings, they're all like they're half God or something.
So there's this view that it's talking about tyrants. And the third one is that sons of God are representative of the children of Seth, of the righteous lineage that follow God, follow Yahweh. And the daughters of men are those who don't follow God. Yeah. And so it's intermixing with unbelievers. Yeah. They're taking for themselves unbelieving wives, which is
it's like the godly line of Seth mixing with the ungodly line of
Cain.
Yeah.
And we there's some textual places where this happens. In other places, God's always saying, "Don't take for yourselves wives that are not followers of God." Yeah. It's a recurring theme in the Pentateuch. And that's the one that the reformers held to. Calvin and Luther said this is the sons of Seth and the daughters of Cain, and they had ungodly birth. And every single one of these three popular interpretations sort of get this way because of how they talk about the Nephilim and God saying, I won't live with folks more than 100. Yeah. They're not going to live more than 120 years because they're evil. And then the flood comes up. So there's the top three.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I believe any one of those three.
There's like, they all have a bit of speculation with them. Like whichever one you choose, you're trying to match something you see in the Bible in another place to this moment, because the terms are not explicitly defined here, right?
Yeah, the reason it says Nephilim in English truly is because we're not exactly sure what it means.
It's a transliteration.
It literally says, if you could read Hebrew, it says Nephilim.
Yep.
And so normally we translate those words.
Yep.
So we've made it a proper noun so that we don't have to make a decision whether it means giants or fallen ones or great men or something.
Yeah.
Now you want me to do my part?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Which one do you think to land the plane on? What do you think?
No, none of them.
None of them?
Not really. Yeah. And there's narrative reasons for it. So, number one, the chapter break does us a disservice here, I think. So remember, in the original, there's no chapter breaks. There's no verse and chapter. And so I actually think chapter 6, 1 through 4 is a summation of chapter 5. I think he's talking about what went on before with those genealogies of the great men, Methuselah and all those guys. Okay?
Yeah.
At the very end, when it says, these were mighty men who are of old, men of renown, or I think your translation said men of name.
Yeah, they were powerful men of old, the famous men.
You're right. They're actually called men of name. They're called men of Shem.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're fixing to meet a guy named Shem. And this issue of making a name for yourself becomes narratively important. We get to the Tower of Babel, and they build this tower into the skies. Yeah. Not into heaven.
Yep.
Again, there's that word heaven. It says they built a tower into heaven. People think that they're trying to build it into God's throne room, but it says they built a tower in the sky. So they built this tall tower, right? But what they do that for? They said, let us make a name for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to make a name for themselves. These guys are men of name. And then at the end of the Tower of Babel, we'll get to this, it says, now this is the genealogy of Shem, which is a person, but it says this is the genealogy of name. So there's like this wordplay going on of what does it mean to make a name for yourself?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on here. I think that the men of name or the men of renown are the folks who went prior to this, who lived like 900 and...
The long-lived people?
The long-lived people. Because that's why he said, well, I'm going to cut it off at 120.
Yeah.
Because we got folks living 960 years. So I think that's kind of what's going on there.
Well, who are the sons of God then?
I think that it goes back to, I don't think that, okay, I'm trying to explain this so in a way that is people can get. So Adam is the son of God. He's called that. And then we have him having children. He has children after his own image in Seth. And so I don't think that what's going on here is the sons of God are the opposite things of the daughter of man, but it's talking about how humankind has come to be. These are not opposites. These are the same thing on the same spectrum. So I just think the sons of God are those folks descended from Adam. That's all there is to it.
Oh, so it's not differentiating between like righteous men and like, the unrighteous or something like that.
I think it's another example of...
It's just a way to say...
I think it's the same way where he says God created sky and land, heaven and earth, sons of God, daughters of men. It's everybody.
You think it's just a way to say that people are multiplying?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's a merism saying everybody's getting together, marrying... whoever they choose, even when Jesus references this.
Yeah.
And he says, so as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be in the days of sons of man. They were marrying and giving in marriage. And I think he's referencing this spot right here.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going on. They're choosing wives for one another, and they're being fruitful, multiplying.
Yeah.
And then comes God's judgment. Chapter break there.
Okay.
That's what I think's happening.
Yeah.
But look, there's things in the Bible where I don't have a 100% certainty.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare.
This is one where you probably ought not to have 100% certainty.
No.
Because I disagree slightly. I think it might be doing something different. I have no problem with the idea that the sons of God are angelic beings. That's the ancient view. It's super ancient.
There are a lot of people who thought that.
Yeah.
Septuagint, old rabbis. The problem, the reason I shy away from that, and again, it's not like we're firing each other. The judgment comes on humanity. Yep. And so when you introduce like half angel people being the ones kind of causing the problems.
Yeah. I don't think that is... I know what you're getting at.
Well, the historic view is they're demonic. You might be about to say something different, but the historic view is these are demon people. And so then the judgment falls because we've got these angels coming around that have kind of corrupted mankind.
Yeah.
Is a strange... And the focus to me is that it's actually just human beings all by themselves are jacked up.
Yeah, no, I think it is. The responsibility lands on humanity for sin, no doubt. But I think it is I think the sons of God, I'm like 75%, 75% on this. It is kind of, I'll say 65% on this, that sons of God are angelic beings for a couple reasons. One, that sons of God as a phrase is only used of angels in the Old Testament. It's in Job.
Yep, it's in Job.
And it's in Job several times. It's also in Daniel. And it's here. So you just looking at like how is the phrase used now. The idea of someone having a son-like relationship with God is used of humanity at large at different points. David, for example, Adam, but the phrase "sons of God" it seems to be like something that's talked about for the angelic host and different people or different angels in the angelic host, and so that makes me think that. But also the New Testament makes me think that 2 Peter 2.
Oh, the weird thing.
Yeah, it is weird. And so it says 2 Peter 2:4 says, "For if God didn't spare the angels who sinned, but cast them into hell and delivered them in chains of utter darkness to be kept for judgment, and if he didn't spare the ancient world, but protected Noah, a preacher of righteousness, and 7 others, when he brought the flood on the world of the ungodly," and goes on about Sodom and Gomorrah and stuff. But his point is he's using stories from the Old Testament to encourage Christians about how God will preserve you through suffering. And so I think it's weird for him to just use these stories, but not in other very familiar stories, but for there not to be a parallel between that story and another story in the Old Testament, because you don't have any other moment that's classically thought of as the fall of angels in any way except for this moment in interpretive history.
Well, you got that one is sneaking around in there telling him to eat food.
Yeah.
Eat this fruit, you'll be like God.
It's multiple angels. God didn't spare the angels who sinned, but cast them into hell. And the same thing goes for Jude. Was it Jude?
You talking about when Michael and them, or angels left their station?
Yeah. So the angels who did not keep their own position, but abandoned their proper dwelling, he is kept in eternal chains and deep darkness for the judgment on that great day.
Yeah, but he never says they had babies.
No, but they left their position.
Yeah,
right. And I
agree with
that's
that.
That's what they would say is being referred to in Genesis 6. And so was he?
But there's no.
I know, and that's the issue, because in both situations he's quoting stories that are familiar to give people encouragement.
Yeah.
So what is he referring to if not that? That's my thing.
Well,
it's like,
but you got in Revelation where the angels fall, and it says that the dragon's tail swept a third of the stars from heaven.
Yeah.
We actually don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm only 65% on this.
I'm trying to get you down to 60.
I don't know if I can get to 60. 65, I don't know. It's like, I feel like he's not right.
Okay,
he didn't just drop in a story that has no context. I think he's talking about things that are familiar to them. And what matches is the ancient view of what happens in Genesis 6, that those were now let me clarify something on it though, because it's not sometimes everyone when you look at Genesis 6 they say, well, sons of God equals that they were having the Nephilim as their babies, but it does not say that.
No,
it does not say that. So it says the sons of God saw the daughters of mankind were beautiful, and they took any they chose as wives for themselves. And then verse 4, it says the Nephilim were on the earth, both.
You said earth again.
On the land. We're on the land, both in those days and afterward, when the sons of God came to the daughters of mankind, who bore children to them. All right. It does not say the Nephilim are the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of mankind. In fact, it says that they are not. It's like, it does not refer to them in that. It should be said completely different. If it's trying to say
it was another competing tribe.
It's something. Nephilim are something else entirely. Then I don't know. It doesn't even say. It doesn't give a name for the children born to them. It doesn't give them a name. It just says the Nephilim were there.
It says they were men of renown.
Yeah, they were the powerful men of old, the famous. Now, here's what I think about this. I think that the powerful men of old, the famous men.
The men of name
were either, as you say, like these old, like the long-lived people, or they were like this, the pharaohs, and so like these old kings who, they knew of these people, Gilgamesh and all these folks.
So like the tyrant people.
The tyrant people, and I think that the point of that story is to say they are not. They're powerful. They got names and stories about them and stuff.
Nimrod.
Yeah, Nimrod, Lamech, maybe those kind of folks. But it's like demythologizing them. Like they are not imbued with spiritual power or something, right? That's what I kind of think is going on there. And that's it's kind of a blended ancient view of what it all is. Michael Heiser kind of is influenced me a little bit on that, Peter Gentry, but I don't know. It's 65%.
I've got more of an Anheuser.
Yeah. So you got this passage from Calvin. Calvin vehemently disagrees with me and agrees with Brad. You want me to read this one? This is so funny. When Calvin disagrees with someone, he brings the heat, man.
Yeah.
So
let him scold you.
He said,
come on.
I know, I can handle it, Calvin. I think he's going to take it back in heaven. He said that ancient figment, this view that the sons of God were...
figment. I like that. That's good.
He says that ancient figment about sons of God being angels, right, concerning the intercourse of angels with women is abundantly refuted by its own absurdity.
Thank you, Calvin.
And it is surprising that learned men should formerly have been fascinated by ravings so gross and prodigious. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he does not agree.
By raving so gross and prodigious.
Yeah.
That's
so funny.
Calvin. I love Calvin when he agrees with me.
Yeah, I know it, right? He disagrees with me, but...
Dude, he didn't have no 65%.
He didn't. No, he was 100% against that.
He was 100%.
Yeah, maybe 99. But
yeah.
I just can't refute. It's hard to refute.
Oh, I wish we had Luther. Luther agreed with Calvin.
Yeah.
He probably said that you were like a... I can't speak like Luther did. It's a PG family show.
It's like one of those things we talk about. So ancient views. It's like I try not to be quick to like a bend in ancient views because man.
Like flat Earth, he loves that.
No. It's on biblical interpretation.
Okay, yeah.
There's sometimes
Earth, center of the universe.
Yeah, sometimes there's just a the live progressivism. We believe our contemporary views on things are so much greater than the ancient view, and I just try to be careful.
Well, I mean, my view's ancient too. It ain't like everybody in the old days was like, "Yep, these are angels and demons."
I think Calvin and them are kind of the first people to go there, though.
No, they're the first ones to say maybe that Seth and Cain.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but like the ancient tyrannical view and stuff is old too.
Yeah, no, I just mean with your view is less ancient. It's 1500s.
No,
right?
Mine was the one they believed when they wrote it. That's what they thought. They did. Y'all came on messed it up.
I don't know, man.
Y'all's heresy was earlier. You're like Marcion, screwing stuff up from the jump.
Oh, you got to do something with 2 Peter and Jude. I don't know what you do.
They're just fallen angels. So it ain't hard to figure out.
This is what happened, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently.
But only 65% assurance on that, though. I have no idea. This is like one of those places where it's okay to like be, I don't know.
Well, your view is more fun because it is weird stuff happening, man.
It is, and
Oh, another view is that these tyrannical men were possessed by demons.
Yeah. And that's
sort of demon possession stuff. It gets weird though, man.
Yeah,
you get that people. Again,
that's one of those. That actually might be true. It's just like an argument from silence. It doesn't say that.
No.
Like, sure, like if I found out, you get your heavenly Q&A session with God, and you're gonna say, well, tell me about Pharaoh. Why was he doing what he was doing? And to find out that he was possessed by a demon, I'm like, well, that wouldn't shock me.
No.
Like. We're creating gods every other day, and enslaving the masses, and saying you are one.
Yeah. Take away their straw, them lazy sluckers.
Minimally, all those things are satanic, right? Those are satanic things that are happening.
Mm-hmm. So anyway,
yeah.
Something happened there.
Something wild happened, and this is one of those places that people they wonder, they question. Like, you could look it up on YouTube right now. What are the Nephilim? You're gonna get a host of different opinions, wild stuff, man.
Most of them be wrong.
From the book, like there are gonna be a lot of people quoting the Book of Enoch, and which is like a 2nd, 3rd century BC,
which is itself quoted in the New Testament.
It is. That's in my favor. That would be in my favor.
It's quoted in Jude, right? When Michael and Moses fuss over the body of Moses.
It's in the same section that we were that I was referencing earlier. And so you're gonna get a lot of different. Have you ever read the Book of Enoch?
No. I saw the Book of Eli. That was pretty great. Is it as good as the Book of Eli?
No, it is not. It's super boring. It's wild, dude.
Book of Eli drives me nuts, though.
I had to read Enoch in seminary.
There's one terrible.
We've already talked about it.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, you triggered me.
Yeah, I did.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, Book of Enoch's wild. If you're into it and nerdy and won't be influenced by it, I recommend it. But it's super long. It's like, I think I listened to one of them, and it was like 18 hours or something.
What?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's everyone. The Book of Enoch is ancient Jews trying to fill in the gaps, like we've been talking about.
Because it's fun, dude.
It's fun, but
it gets dangerous because people start teaching it like, "Oh, this is such a nice story."
What's the passage in what's that passage in 2 Timothy?
Where he says fables. Don't give yourself to fables and stuff.
I think it's talking about the Book of Enoch.
Yeah, probably.
I think,
and not just that, but like everywhere people are filling in these gaps.
What was that? What's the passage in 2 Timothy? Don't
you know your Bible?
Yeah, I know. I got landed. Oh, here it is. I found it. Yeah. All right. So he says in 2 Timothy 2:22, flee from youthful passions and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart. But reject foolish and ignorant disputes, because you know that they breed quarrels. The Lord's servant must not quarrel, but must be gentle to everyone. There's one of them that I didn't land on. There's one that talks about endless genealogies and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? That's the one I was actually meaning. I think it must have come before that moment.
Yeah, because Paul knew all that stuff.
Yeah, and so, it's in... Enoch is full of genealogies and stuff.
Oh,
full of it, yeah.
It's full of it, period.
It is full of it. So I think it's
But it's fun.
It's fun, but you can't make that your...
See, what's going to happen in 1,000 years, somebody's going to dig up a bunch of stuff, and they're going to find... what's the guy's name that played in Gladiator?
Gerard, but no, not Gerard. But what was his name? Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Yeah. They're going to find Russell Crowe's movie about Noah. And they're going to say, this is what they believe. Look, there's a big old giant golems throwing junk at that ship.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, this is what they thought in ancient days.
That is so funny, man. That was a fun movie. Crazy, though.
I never watched it.
Like, you didn't... It's like, where did they get this stuff from, man?
They got it from Enoch, probably.
I think they got it from some Gnostic writings or something, They
find stuff all the time.
Yeah.
To blame anything but the Bible. Because the Bible doesn't tell us these things.
The Bible... This is the narrative arc of the Bible. That's what we're trying to get.
Which is why my view's right, because it mentions the men of name, and it's narratively popping up again.
I agree about that. I think remember, I like that. I think that's true. Yeah, it's the men of renown.
Men of name.
The men of name. It's okay.
The reason I say name is because Shem. It just keeps coming up. Shem.
Shem.
And name or renown, it means the same thing. Like he made a name for himself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's important to know that what we're trying to get at is that the Bible has an arc, and it's going to one thing. It's going
Definitely
to
has
Jesus.
An arc. We're about to get in it.
Yeah. Hey, it has a point. It doesn't spend copious amounts of time trying to explain away everyone's questions, right? And this is one of those places. So let's kind of look at something else in here. It says, the Lord said, my spirit will not remain with mankind forever because they are corrupt. His spirit won't remain with them forever. The Ruach.
Yeah.
Man, what does that mean?
It means they're going to die.
Yep.
It's the breath of life. By the end of the Pentateuch, Moses dies at 120.
Yep.
Right?
And
yes.
Yeah. And pretty much maybe even one or two exceptions around that.
Yeah, I think he's talking about these dudes that came before.
Yeah.
The men of renown.
It's like
living too long.
People aren't living that long anymore. Yeah. It's over.
Like we talked about last time.
Yeah.
It just causes trouble.
I had a seminary professor who said that their days would be 120 years. It wasn't about like lifespan. It was actually saying like from that moment, the flood's coming in 120 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
Yeah.
And then in Peter, they also link to the same passage you did, that he preached righteousness. Noah preached righteousness. That there was like a 120-year gap where he built. I mean, we don't know. Right. He had to build the ark.
It took a while,
and he had no planer like I do. He couldn't go down to Lowe's and get a DeWalt.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
So it might have taken 120 years.
It might have taken 120 years. It's a lot.
It is probably about the time span from here until the flood.
Can you imagine making beams that were like whatever you had to do with the ark, and you cut that thing 3 inches short? Man.
Yeah. Have you ever watched on YouTube those guys who like use old school, build things with old school tools and stuff? Nick
Offerman does that.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he made a canoe that was amazing.
But I mean, like not even using like hand planers. We're talking like that. It looks like a hatchet with a flat, a sideways hatchet. You know what I'm talking about?
Draw knife.
Yeah, it's like a draw, but it's things like draw knife and whatnot.
Yeah,
man, That'd be crazy. And especially if you're in the supposed bronze, ironish age and stuff, where the quality of tools is like pretty junk. And they get dull. Both bronze and iron get dull so fast, man.
Bronze is not so bad, actually.
It dulls and bends super fast.
But it's better than ancient iron.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Bronze is better than iron?
Bronze is better than iron. It's not better than steel.
Yeah,
Those are different things people often don't know about. But like bronze, the reason it fell out is it's more rare than iron. And you don't forge it, you pour it.
Yeah.
And so bronze, if you had to pick like ancient days between an iron sword and a bronze one, pick a bronze one.
How about that?
Yeah.
I remember watching back in the day on Discovery Channel or History Channel. They would, they for a while there, they had these shows about like medieval warfare or ancient warfare, and they would like test out different kinds of swords. You remember that? And I remember them hitting something with a bronze sword, and like they hit it, and the thing just goes. It goes. As soon as they hit the first hit, it just bends sideways.
That's what used to happen with the old iron swords too. Like dudes take break from battle to try to straighten their swords up.
Just go straight it back out.
Yeah, but steel changed the game.
Yeah,
because
it's bendy.
It goes back.
Yeah, it snaps back.
Yeah, they get incredible with it. Yeah, but basically you have to figure out to add carbon to iron.
Yeah, I don't know how we got onto that, but we're 120 years.
They had junky tools, man.
Yeah, they had junky tools. Took a while.
Plus, you have to dry out all that lumber.
That's right.
And also you have to wet it to bend it.
To bend it,
it must be.
Well, let's get to that. There's an arc coming here. So when the Lord saw that human wickedness, this is verse 5, that human wickedness was widespread on the earth, and that every inclination of the human mind was nothing but evil all the time.
All the time.
Man, what an indictment. The Lord regretted.
Man is evil.
Yeah.
All the time. I got really bad thoughts in this heart of mine. That's the man person.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, we could use that as our new jingle. I made that up on the spot.
Did you really?
Yeah. That was
total depravity.
Yes.
All right.
The depravity song.
Yeah. God is good and man is evil. The Lord regretted that he had made man on the earth, and he was deeply grieved. Man, that is a statement.
So bad.
Nacham.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He's like sad.
Regret.
Repent. Grieved. It's a deep.
It's turned.
Yeah, he's like.
It's a turn. Yeah, it's like.
He's like, I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah. King James actually has a funny translation on that, if I remember correctly.
Repented.
Yeah, he repented.
He repented.
Yep, he repented. Yep. Let me see if I can find it.
I guarantee it's
repented. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart.
My first Bible was Old King Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. And that's the word. It is like to repent. It's to
change your mind.
To change your mind.
God is not like man that he should change his mind.
I know, that's also a Bible verse.
What is going on here?
Classic, the word that they use, that theologians use for this is immutability. Yeah. That's a word. That's a...
God doesn't change.
Immutability. 6 syllables on that.
We love to say long words that mean things like he doesn't change.
Yeah, all it means is he doesn't change. And so, and that's like a characteristic of God, what it means to be God. He says that over and over again about his own characters. I am not man that I change my mind.
There's at least 2 times I can think of, though, it says he changed his mind.
And so give me your thoughts on that. What does it mean that God changes his mind here?
So let's talk about what it can't mean.
Okay, tell me what it can't mean.
It cannot mean that he didn't foresee this, or we've got to reinvent our entire theological stuff and we should just quit. That he made man, he was like, man, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was going to be bad.
Like, I didn't know what I was getting into, kind of thing.
That stupid tree in there. Yeah. I think it is a God, what is it called?
That's
anthropomorphism.
And that view is nearly heresy.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Yeah. That God did not know.
That is heresy.
The future. It's open theism.
Yes, that's heresy.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks.
It's heresy.
But lots of other people have said it. And we know a lot about God. And we know he's not Zeus, that he doesn't know what he's doing. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean that he didn't foresee it. And it's very interesting that things come to pass that grieve God that he knew were coming. Mm-hmm. But I think what's happening here is we have an accommodation to us.
Yeah.
Like how the scripture's trying to convey his deep pain at how we're treating each other, because it's not affecting him in the sense that we can get to God to hurt him physically or something. That's silly.
Yeah.
But it grieves him basically how we're treating each other down here.
Human wickedness was
human
widespread.
wickedness toward each other. So think about that. God sees us misbehaving like children. He's like, oh, they're so bad to each other. I shouldn't even have made them if they're going to treat each other like this. So it's trying to convey his disappointment, his grief in how bad it is. And he's like, I gotta reboot. And so he's probably talking to Michael, the archangel, and he's like, it's so bad down there. And Michael says, have you tried turning it on and off again?
Yeah.
We got a virus down there of sin. He's like, we got to reboot.
Yeah. Like, the word wickedness in there is
I made that up. That conversation did not happen.
That did not happen.
As far as I know.
That ra'ah word on wickedness and stuff is a wild word in the Old Testament.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that's the word for wickedness there.
Yes.
And it's used a lot to talk about some different things, but one of the most common uses is like evil intent, and for someone to cause injustice and calamity against someone else.
It is premeditated wickedness. Like they're plotting it. It talks about this a lot in Proverbs, that the wicked can't rest until he has plotted evil.
That's right. 1 Samuel 23, Saul was plotting evil against him.
Yeah. So it's not just that they made bad decisions on the fly.
Yeah.
They were getting together and taking counsel like, how can we ruin this dude?
Yeah. And that's widespread on the earth.
Yes.
And that every inclination of the human mind was nothing but evil all the time.
And that we
Goodness
still do.
Gracious.
That's like corporate America, ain't it?
It is. It's, that's a funny thing. And so we need to talk about that in a second. So the Lord regretted, and the Lord said, I will wipe mankind, whom I created, off the face of the earth, together with the animals, creatures that crawl, and the birds of the sky.
You said earth again.
The land.
Yeah.
For I regret that I made them. I can't stop it. I'm reading it.
I know it.
I need a new translation that says land. Noah, however, found favor with the Lord.
Yeah.
All right. So you got widespread wickedness, but you have one man, Noah.
Noah found grace in the eyes of God. It says, what did you say here?
He found favor with the Lord.
Yes, it's for grace, though.
Grace and favor.
What's really weird is the word, it says Noah found grace. Like Noah's name is grace backwards. In Hebrew, it's just two letters. It's like in het, and it says so. It's like a little word thing. It says, "And Noah found grace."
Yeah, Noah.
Yeah,
and
Noah.
then it goes back the other way. Chan.
You gotta get that ch in there.
Yeah, Chan. Grace, favor.
Yeah, he found grace.
That's funny. You're right. He found grace with the Lord. And then it goes on to kind of talk about Noah for a minute, and his family records. And then the text in Genesis 6 kind of repeats this, like the earth was corrupt in God's sight. The earth was filled with wickedness. God saw how corrupt the earth was. For every creature had corrupted its way on the earth. Every creature. This is like sin has gone everywhere.
Everywhere.
That all creation is affected by this.
Everything in the whole land.
Yeah, in the land.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's way on the land. Then God said to Noah, I've decided to put an end to every creature, for the land is filled with wickedness because of them. Therefore, I'm going to destroy them along with the land. And then you get this ark. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Yeah.
That's why they call it gopher wood?
Why?
Because his son was helping him. He said, son, you got to go for more wood. This thing's huge. That's not why. That was a joke. You told me I needed to make jokes.
Those are good jokes. I'm a fan.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so there's this flood coming. Understand that I'm bringing, verse 17, understand that I'm bringing a flood waters on the earth to destroy every creature under heaven with the breath of life in it, the ruach. Right? Yeah. Everything on earth will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you. Everything on the land will perish, right?
Yeah. He says, behold, I'm bringing the floodwater upon the land to destroy all flesh which has the breath of life from under the sky. Everything that is on the land shall perish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a couple things on this. All right. I think that the flood has several objections in our culture.
Oh, yeah.
You
almost got to one of the most important first-time words ever in the Bible.
Oh, which part is that?
Verse 18, I will establish my covenant with you.
Yeah, the covenant.
First time covenant's ever mentioned.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That is. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll pick up on 18.
Yeah. You want to talk about the flood?
Yeah, I want to talk about the flood. I think there's two big objections people have with the flood.
Yes.
That whether you have this objection or not,
at least
you know people with these objections.
Yeah.
And they're common. I don't know if complaint's the right word, but it's something that agnostics and atheists bring up often in their critique of the Bible.
Yeah.
First of all, the flood and worldwide judgment as how can that be good? Yeah, right. How can it be justice? How it's like the punishment doesn't
disagreement to me.
It's common though, and so I think we should talk about it. That we're gonna, there's sin in the world, and so the plan is to kill everyone and everything, all the animals too. That how could like the presence of a animal left over, how could that interfere with God resetting things?
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of the objection. Like, why do we got to kill everyone?
Yeah.
Why can't we rehabilitate them?
Why are we drowning puppies?
Yeah.
Why are we drowning kittens?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
And also with like children, people,
babies.
like just people, right? And so I think that's worth talking about, people who,
I
right?
have another song in my head.
Oh, okay.
Remember that song? Look at the animals, both great and small.
I don't know that one.
Yeah. Look at the wonderful world he made, and then God drowned them all.
Oh, my God.
I made that last part up. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Kind of speaking to like the intensity of the moment. This is an intense moment.
It's bad.
Right. It's bad. So what do you think?
Dark humor's the only way to handle it.
You either
Dark
laugh
humor
or you
makes
cry.
the day brighter.
Yeah.
What do I think about what?
That objection, like, how would you explain it to someone who is?
I would say, I think it's
sincerely asking about it.
G.K. Chesterton. Is it G.K.'s his initials?
Yeah.
If you're really smart and you write a book, you just use your initials. So my first book would be J.B. Williams.
J.B. Williams sounds like a Civil War writer.
Oh, I could be like Ken Burns or something.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
J.B. Williams.
J.B. Williams. What was I saying before I got caught up in my own greatness?
Yeah.
So G.K. Chesterton said that of all Christian doctrines, the depravity of man is the most eminently provable. Of course, he writes this coming out of like world wars.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're horrible. Like, there's no doubt that we're horrible. It's like in the United States, we don't have enough prisons to put people in. So, like, if you just do something kind of bad, we'll just put you at the house with an anklet lock because our jails are full.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
China doesn't have this problem. They just shoot people or whatever. They just get rid of them.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you lock your door? Like, if somebody's like, why would they have to judge all people? It's like, do you lock your door, buddy? I mean, like, seriously? Do you carry? You're in the United States.
Yeah.
Why are we so obsessed with the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
Because we might have to shoot somebody. I mean, it's that bad out here.
Yeah.
It's wickedness everywhere.
Yeah.
And so when people are like, people aren't that bad, they're basically good. It's like, you sweet summer child, like, what is the matter with you?
Yeah.
People are not good.
Yeah.
Where have you been that you think this is so?
Yeah.
The only reason you think that's because we live in a golden age and we have police and people come and save it. But save you from evil, like you can pick up the phone and call 911 and somebody eventually will come to try to help you, brave men and women that we impugn so ridiculously. You didn't have that in ancient world.
Yeah.
Strong men just took what they wanted.
Yeah.
And it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad stuff. Slavery, it was not race-based slavery. It was whoever I could whoop and make my slave.
Yeah.
They were equal opportunity enslavers. It was horrible.
Yeah.
What they did. Just bad. It was bad stuff. And so when people say, oh, well, God killed everybody, it's like, it seems wrong. Is it, though?
Yeah. It's like the problem. There's a problem with the objection in that it brings to the table some presuppositions that are wrong. One, that there are innocents.
Well, especially atheists talking in these moral categories.
Yeah,
of
what basis do you have for morality?
Good people.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What is your standard?
Yeah.
Like your neighbor who brought you cookies when you moved in?
Yeah.
Who was beating his wife and you didn't know?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Good people. Compared to what?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
People are not convinced that they are bad. That sin is truly what it is.
That's possible.
Yeah.
I actually think people don't want God to judge. I think it's deeper than that. It's like, man, if He'll kill everybody for their sins, what's going to happen to me in my judgment?
Yeah.
It's a nagging, like, man, if He gets this serious over what I would think would be petty stuff, what would a God like this do? How would I face judgment?
Yeah. And don't forget either that, like, the terms have already been set.
Yeah.
Already. Every person who dies from the moment they leave the garden do so because God has done this.
Yeah.
Because God, like every single death, there's a sense in which it is the judgment of God.
Everybody must die and then judgment.
Yeah. And
that's from the Bible.
That's right. Death comes for everyone. And God is just to call that due whenever He wants.
Whenever He wants. And also we think about death like, oh no, we're going to be gone. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, from here.
That's true. Yeah.
You're going to be somewhere else.
There's a loss of perspective in that objection. So there we go. At least that's
what's the other objection?
The other objection has more to do with like what the worldwide flood, and how the worldwide flood can integrate with the scientific history, geology. I
think that's a better objection.
It is a common objection too. Yeah. Like that's a common thing for people to look at the Old Testament.
Like how you get all those animals on a boat, on one ark. It ain't that big.
Yeah.
It's big, but it's not that big.
How could the world completely flood, period?
Yes.
And how could there be plant life after that? How could there be...
Come on with it.
Just keep...
How did people get back from 8 people?
Yeah. How did we... Yeah, exactly. How did we get to 8 billion from 8 people?
Had kangaroos get down in Australia with the wallabies and the wombats?
How did people and the Aborigines get down there and everything? Yeah. I mean, it's like
Had the Native Americans get to Native America?
Yeah. It's the whole 9 yards, especially as we've talked about the issues with the timing.
And not only that, they got in these places and forgot everything.
Yep. Oddly, except for some sort of worldwide flood, that's actually weirdly of all over.
Ubiquitous.
Yeah, it is. It's in most. At least I can't speak for that with a lot of authority, but I've heard it said that most of these ancient cultures.
You got to be careful though. People exaggerate.
They do. They exaggerate. They're trying to make a point about some little axe they want to grind.
Yeah.
There are a couple stories. We can minimally say there are a couple stories out there, ancient stories about a flood.
Yeah, and there's lots of floods in the world, though. We can also say that minimally.
Flooding happens.
We had regularly. What was it? Christmas, like 20 years ago, where that tsunami hit Indonesia and killed like 100,000
that was horrible,
people.
Man.
But I mean, floods come.
Could you imagine if that happened in the ancient world? If that a tsunami like that were to have hit Athens or something?
Yeah.
Like what? Isn't Athens on the coast?
It's close enough.
If a
meteor hit the ocean.
Like what would have happened? What would the stories have been like from that?
The wrath of the gods.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been like had mythological kind of like elements to it.
So go back to the first objection. I just let people sit with that idea that God will judge.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have to explain it too much.
Yeah.
Because people are wicked, and we know that stuff was bad back in the day. There was good stuff, there was bad stuff, but the bad stuff was really bad.
Yep.
And we know that because they talked about the stuff they did. Mm-hmm. Not just in the Bible. The second one is like, let's look at the Bible.
Okay, I'm looking at it. Or I'm looking at my digital copy of it. What's it telling me?
We're looking at the digital copy. So there's a couple of ways that we deal with this. One is it seems impossible that there was a worldwide catastrophic flood that put water all over the earth 4,000 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what young Earth
timing,
folks say.
Yeah.
About 4,000. Because the pyramids are older than that.
Yeah.
And we know those mummies didn't get wet because they're still dry.
It would be approximately, 500 years before Abraham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about right. 500 years before Abraham. Because there's a lot of people you say Melchizedek, who we'll get to, was Shem.
Yeah.
But which is also speculation. So 4,000 years ago, you have a global flood event that kills everything and everybody except for 8 people. And less than 4,000 years later, you got Native Americans back in North America dispersed all the way from Noah. And they forgot how to read, how to write, and anything to do with the ark, anything to do with God. In a span of 4,000 years. That's a quick forgetting.
Yeah.
Or Aborigines down in Australia. Why did all the weird animals go to Australia where they like talking to each other? And it's like, hey, mate. Oh, you said mate? We're going down to Australia. Yeah, it's like we got.
You like Vegemite?
Yeah, you like Vegemite sandwich? Yeah, it's or like because we got duck-billed platypus down there, and the wombats and the kangaroos.
All the weird animals
who will beat you.
Yeah. You sent me that video the other day, didn't you, about the kangaroo attacking?
Oh man, these dudes are just fierce. Yeah, and they're ripped.
Yeah, they're like Pokemon, man. They're just like those little fighting ones. Or something.
Yeah. Except their bottom feet's the one you got to watch for.
Yeah, that's
right.
They
got claws on them, man.
Yeah.
You don't mess with no kangaroo.
I'm not messing with no kangaroo.
And they took everybody's guns away in Australia. It's just a matter of time.
The kangaroo's going to take over.
They already lost the war of the emus. So, so I don't think that's possible.
You don't think it's possible for there to be a worldwide flood 4,000 years ago?
No.
Well,
there's too many. There's too many things. So that's 2,000 BCs, bro.
Yeah.
That's like we got stuff older than that. We got trees in our national parks that are older than that.
Do we?
Yes, the Methuselah tree.
I don't know about that.
We don't tell many people about it.
Okay. I want to look that up.
You're going to look it up.
The Methuselah tree.
We got those old cities in Turkey from 9,000 BC. What's it called?
Methuselah tree.
That's like 7,000 years before the flood.
Oh, yeah, the Göbekli Tepe.
And the thing is that these places don't seem to have been underwater. They weren't wet. Egypt wasn't wet.
Yeah. Oh my goodness!
Come on now, tell me if I was right.
So in Eastern California, a Great Basin bristlecone pine known as Methuselah has long been considered Earth's oldest living thing. According to tree ring data, Methuselah is 4,853 years old.
Yeah.
Meaning it was well established by the time ancient Egyptians built the pyramids of Giza. Wow.
Should have been underwater, bro.
Should have been.
So what do you have to do now? You have to start doing weird stuff. You have to start saying stuff like, tree ring data is not good. It does, even though every single time we date trees, we do it by tree rings, but it doesn't work in the Methuselah tree because, and then nonsense follows.
Yeah.
It is, the pyramids weren't built 4,500 years ago because even though we have genealogies of kings and radiocarbon dating, the king lists overlap and this happens. And so you start sounding like a flat earther, dude.
Yeah.
Every single time something's found, you have to come up with another reason why this dating doesn't work. Yeah. And there's like this global conspiracy of scientists.
Looking at you. Looking at you, Answers in Genesis.
No.
I did it.
Don't call them out.
I called them out.
They'll come after us. So, but I mean, it's like these scientists just rubbing their hands like, how could we ruin the faith of Christians? They don't even care about us, man. They're just trying to do their research and mind their own business.
Yeah.
And we got dinosaur. Well, they could have died in a flood. But anyway, all I'm saying is that it seems highly improbable.
Yeah, it does.
A lot of weird stuff. Basically, we have no way to date anything at this point.
Yeah,
so it's like the old Earth, young Earth problem, exactly the same up.
It's the same problem.
Same problem, except there are more problems.
Yeah,
like you have to have like miracle upon miracle. Like, how did all those animals, the diversity of the species we have now, get on that ark?
Yeah.
And they'll say like, well, they were real little, so like puppies and stuff. But there was just 2 of each.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a lot. And then when Noah gets off the boat, he kills 7.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He kills like 7 of each clean animal. Like, where'd they come from? What? We ain't got that many, Noah. This was better than Solomon's sacrifice of 100,000 bulls. Because you ain't got but like a few thousand creatures left, and Noah's like, I love God so much, I'm going to kill 1/10 of them.
Yeah.
Like, whoops-a-daisy. And where'd the rest of the clean animals go? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, so...
No, you're right, yeah. So what happened then? Like, what's the other option because that, I mean, I'm sure like a lot of folks listening, that's like...
had to happen a lot further back.
Yeah.
Had to happen a lot further back if it was a
long time ago.
Global
more
flood.
Than 4,000 years ago.
More than 4,000. And by the way they date the world, we've talked about this again.
Yeah, it's funky.
It's funky.
Only when the young Earth kind of creationist views,
yes,
their dating of the world is funky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they do that for, but they got to. It could be that it was longer ago in a galaxy long, long ago, a land far, far away. Or we read it as land and sky, and this is a direct judgment on the area of Eden where everybody was living.
So this Mesopotamia
basin flood.
Yeah.
Like some kind of tsunami happened in the Mesopotamia area where all these Gilgamesh flood stories pop up.
Yeah.
Marduk? What's his name?
Marduk. No.
Gilgamesh.
It's Gilgamesh, yeah.
Yeah, Gilgamesh gets in the flood. He meets a Noah character who survived in the
he's
boat.
got a wild name, too. What's his name?
It starts with an A. It's like Archipashad or something like that.
Yeah.
And, man, the Gilgamesh stories are pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
He tries to get eternal life. You know about that?
Yeah.
Swims down to the bottom of the ocean. There's a flower down there that grants eternal life, and it slips from his fingers.
We had to read that one, too, in seminary.
Did you?
I read weird stuff.
I read it just because I'm a nerd.
I had like a specialization in like ancient text stuff.
Yeah, that's fun, man.
It was fun.
I love that stuff. But yeah, so I don't know. It bugs me when if I get to heaven, or when I do, because I'm going to die eventually. I'm not one of the mighty men for 960 years. Even they died. But anyway, when I get to heaven, and I'm like, Lord, I thought this thing was local. He's like, man, I flooded everything 4,000 years ago, you dummy. I'll be like, oh, sorry. It didn't look like
it's not a power issue. Like, if it could be a miracle. And
no, it's not a power issue.
God could do whatever
It's not even, I don't believe the Bible issue.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to read it that way.
Yeah. And so you're saying that the flood, you believe that flood was most likely a local flood in the Mesopotamian basin.
Yeah, local's a rough way to say it, though.
An area-wide on the land that...
It was on the land.
The narrative is...
It's focusing on.
The whole Pentateuch is curating this idea about the land.
Yeah.
It's all about the land.
Yes.
And who is going to live in God's land.
Yes. And he often exterminates people in the land who act wickedly.
Yep.
It's a reoccurring
It's supposed to be a place of righteousness and abundance.
Now, there's problems with my understanding of that.
Okay. Just tell me your
Because,
problems.
like, some of the mountains get 20 feet underwater. So we got this Jello Bowl flood if it's just that region. You know, I mean, they had to spread out pretty fast.
Yeah.
I think one possibility is some kind of massive tsunami.
Yeah.
That it just... Because we know, right? So you wouldn't say the tsunami that we talked about on Christmas was a localized flood.
No.
It massively denigrates what happened there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it was a massive flood. It killed like 200,000 people.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. And it happened like that.
Yeah.
That flood was gone in just a couple weeks.
Yeah.
You know, you still had swampy stuff where water was retained, but a massive 40-foot wall of water kills everybody.
Yeah.
They don't have to hang around that long.
Yeah.
Just the impact of it. Because they say some tsunamis can travel at the speed of sound.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yes.
The speed of sound.
Look it up, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Make sure I'm not lying to all our
Let's see.
our
All right,
listeners.
I'm going to get Google involved here.
Yeah. So,
how fast can a tsunami...
So do you know how much a gallon of water weighs?
8 pounds?
8 pounds. Like a human head.
500 miles per hour.
Yes. That's not quite the speed of sound, is it?
It's as fast as a jet plane.
Yeah. So 500 miles an hour.
It can cross an entire ocean in less than a day.
Yes. So think
Wow.
about this. You have a 8-pound gallon of water. 1 gallon, like a milk jug, dear listener. And somebody throws it at your head at 500 miles an hour.
Yeah, a little bit less than the speed of sound. The
What
speed
happens,
of sound
Steve?
is 767.
What happens to your head if you get hit with 8 pounds of water traveling 500 miles an hour?
You're dead.
Your head, you don't...
You're vaporized. You're atomized.
Well, your head's just gone, and your body's still standing there.
Yeah.
You don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It's like getting hit by a cannonball.
But your whole body got hit.
Yeah.
Though.
If it's a 40-foot tall of water backed by the ocean and it's traveling 500 miles an hour, it does not take long to kill everybody.
Yeah.
So I think something like that's what happened.
Especially, how often cities, how close they are to water.
Yes.
In the ancient world. I mean,
So-
you have to be near a river or an ocean.
Yes. So think about this. A worldwide flood is 100% possible. Not in the sense that the whole world is underwater at the same time. Maybe. I doubt it.
Yeah.
But if a meteor fell from the sky today and when it impacted in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean,
Yeah.
and let's say it was the size of a school bus.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on the west coast of the United States is dead.
East Coast.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
East Coast. Yeah. I was thinking west of the tsunamis.
Yeah. It's going
Everybody
west.
on the East Coast is dead.
Yeah.
Everybody on the west coast of Europe also is dead.
Yeah.
East Coast of America, west coast of Europe, dead. Millions.
Yeah.
Millions. And there would be nothing you could do because it's moving at 500 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
By the time you knew it was there, you're not getting out of New York City, baby.
Yeah.
You better make your peace with God. And you're going to have a 100-foot tall chunk of water moving nearly the speed of sound.
Yeah.
But destroying everything in its path. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely possible.
Well, here's one thing to consider, though. Just, look at like chapter 7, verse 4. 7 days from now, I will make it rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. So like when you look at the how the story works, it's rain.
Mm-hmm.
It's 40 days and 40 nights of rain. Now, here's the funny thing. 40 days alone of rain in an area won't flood. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to actually flood an area. It'd make things super wet, but water still flows, down into the seas. And so it does talk about rain, though. It's not just tsunami, whatever.
He says
kind
he
of thing.
opened up the windows of heaven, doesn't he? Say.
Yeah, the floodgates of heaven. It's like the idea is that there's little gates up top, and we're just going to open them up, and the rain's going to dump down, right?
Yeah. I think it might. And plus, well, if you get enough rain, you think about there have been floods. So there was a flood like 11,000 years ago or so. If the world's that old, right? At the Black Sea. And it was during the Ice Age, like a lot of water had retreated. So you get this weird situation where the sea is way higher.
The melting of the glacier.
Yeah.
All the glaciers,
and so the natural dam broke on that thing.
Yeah.
And so you've got an entire sea that just ran into this low spot.
Yeah.
And so if you get like 40 days of rain, a lot of bad stuff can start happening.
Yeah, especially you add in a huge glacier melt.
Yeah. Or
a meteor hitting the glacier.
You're hitting something.
Yeah. I know something happened. Something crazy happened.
Yeah.
But I think Brad's point, what he's trying to say, and I would never say.
Yeah. Blame it on me.
Yeah. What he's trying to say is that when you read this text, like you should not get so caught up in trying to explain away every detail geologically, in the natural history of the world, because it doesn't tell you much. It just doesn't tell you much. Mm-hmm. Number one, it never is actually making the case. Most likely, this is probably like a 75-80% most likely that the water covers all of the globe Earth. It's the land. That's what's curated about in every single one of these moments is the land.
So you think about, narratively speaking, what's happened. We got Adam and Eve. They got kicked out of the land for misbehaving. Then you got these people who multiply in the earth, and all that's in their brain all the time is wickedness, and they get killed for misbehaving. And then Abraham comes on the scene a little bit. And God says, you're going to go in this land, you're going to wander around in it, and then you're going to go exile for 400 years. Your people's going to be exiled from there until the time of judgment, till the wickedness of the people is filled up. And then they're going to get judged in the land. What does God say to do to all the people in the land when they get back? Kill every one of them, kill their wives, kill their children, kill the dog that barks at you, kill everything. So once again, it's an extermination, of wiping out of life in the land due to wickedness.
Yeah.
And God tells them when they go in there, if you start acting like them, I'm gonna kill you too. I'm gonna kick you out. I'm gonna put you in every place in the world, and you're gonna be eating your own babies. It's gonna get so bad, you're gonna get so hungry if you misbehave. So God is doing the focus of this return to the land and misbehaving in it is the theme of the covenant
and
the Old Testament.
That highlights again that what's the narrative point of it. Man, is sin matters.
Yeah.
Sin matters. And like your sin is just, this is supposed to be a place of God's presence on earth.
Yes.
And his blessing where his blessing can be found and distributed, right?
It is a microcosm. We see the world through this spot.
Yep. And sin in the land right here is, the absolute desecration of God's space.
Yes. He hates it.
He hates it.
And so, but
he's gonna
it's
do
serving as how also, it's not like folks that are living other places are outside the judgment of God. Mm-hmm. Okay. This serves as an example for the rest of the world, how he's dealing here.
That's right. Let me ask you this. That's a good point. Is the time of the flood as bad as it's ever been, sin in the world?
No.
It's not the worst, huh?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's equal bad.
It is equal bad.
It's a precursor to a judgment that's coming.
And so why does this not continue to happen? If things have gotten worse, been worse in different areas, like why has this happened again?
Grace.
Yeah. There's a promise involved.
Well, I want to go back to for our dear listeners who have already decided I'm a heretic. It could be a worldwide flood.
It could be.
It could be the absolute destruction of the land of Eden.
Yeah.
It's in thing here. And both of those, you can be an inerrantist, conservative, and be hated by the world for holding those things.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're in the same camp on that.
Yeah.
side.
So a lot of people get this idea that if you say it's a local flood, you're a liberal. That's because you live in a very small world, dude.
Yeah.
Like, here we are over here on the end of the right. You're like 2 centimeters away from the dude who thinks that for sure it's the whole wide world.
That's right.
And then there's this entire other spectrum of the world, entire other perspective, So it's okay. I don't have to apologize for believing the Bible.
No, you don't. Is another area, like we're talking about ancient history, I don't know is a healthy thing to say, and not planting your flag on issues that the Bible is not focusing, it's not trying to say and plant its flag on. It's probably a bad idea.
Let me tell you what.
Tell me what.
Tell you what. This is what really sticks in my craw.
What sticks in your craw?
God made 2 books.
Yep.
He wrote the Bible, which is our special revelation.
Yep.
And he made the world, which is our general revelation.
Yep.
Both of these are trustworthy books.
Yep.
The general revelation cannot tell you how to get saved.
That's right.
But it does tell us there's a God. It tells us that he's omniscient and omnipotent and almighty. This is straight out of Romans.
Yeah.
His very Godhead is made visible through the things that are made. The heavens declare the glory of God.
That's a song.
Yeah, the world is his handiwork. Mm-hmm. Every single day it cries out, there is a God. There is no language or speech where this is not heard. So nature, the world, is a dependable, reliable source to understand God and who we are.
Yeah.
And when people say you can't trust science, they're saying you can't trust God's second book.
Yeah.
And that makes me angry.
Yeah.
Like God's tricking us with this thing.
Yeah.
That don't do that. Don't do that. Don't try to make up something that's like, well, the world's only 6,000 years old, but we've got stars that are 27 billion light years away. And we can see them. They're not 27 billion. They're only 4 billion. Yeah. So it's like, hey, man, we shouldn't even be able to see any stars.
Yeah, kind of like at the weird center of that is that folks don't realize they're caught up in a culture war.
Yes.
And that's totally what it is. It's this left versus right, conservative versus liberal cultural war, progressive and conservative thing that you're actually getting caught up in and you don't realize. And you think that the social left, the progressivism, has science on their side. It's like they've claimed science, and the right claims religion, claims God, the Bible.
I actually think it is both sides simpler than this. I think it is you're both just living in your insecurity. Mm-hmm. Your worldview, whether it be just science, atheism, or God, cannot stand up to the scrutiny of the other side.
Yeah.
I'm like, bring the scrutiny, brother.
He can handle
Bring it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care. But you get back to what you asked me. Why hasn't God killed everybody again? He's going to. Mm-hmm. But we're living in a time of grace. He made a covenant with Noah. That's why it's so important.
Yes.
He made a covenant with Noah.
Yep.
And God keeps his covenants.
Yep. The flood eventually ends.
Yes.
And when they get off the boat, like God is going to say some things to Noah.
In a poem.
In a poem.
Every time something important happens, it's poetry. poetry. I don't know what happened to me there.
And so it says, they all come out, and Noah builds an altar to the Lord. Mm-hmm. Takes the clean animals.
Now look, let's be literal. What does it say? What does it say in verse 20?
Then Noah built an altar to the Lord.
Keep going.
He took some of every kind of clean animal.
Did it say some in yours?
Some of every, yeah.
It says every kind.
Oh, yeah. It just says every kind of clean animal?
Yeah. So how did the clean animals keep going if they're all dead?
Yeah.
He killed them all.
Yeah. He must
have took some of them.
Yeah. That's what they end up saying. Yeah. He makes a sacrifice, though.
Yeah.
You know, we'll just move on. Well, I think you've made your point.
Yeah.
And verse 21, when the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, he said to himself, I will never again curse the ground because of human beings, even though the inclination of the human heart is evil from youth onward. Mm-hmm. And I will never again strike down every living thing as I've done. And he gets a poem right here. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night will not cease. Right.
That's why he hasn't killed us again.
Yeah. And so you get the, in chapter 9, right after that, some very familiar words are said.
Yeah.
God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Where do you remember that from?
Yeah, he said, fill the land, right?
Yeah, fill the land. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But it's Genesis 1. Same
1.
thing, right?
Yeah.
We're restarting, man. Hitting the restart button.
Have you tried turning it on and off again?
This is Adam 2.0, you know?
Yep.
The fear and terror of you will be in every living creature on the earth. I'll just read on a little bit.
That's new, though.
It is, yeah. There's some different things.
It used to be Narnia before we screwed it up.
Basically, they talk about meat and stuff.
Be eating flesh.
Yeah, eating flesh, and things about killing humans too. If someone murders a fellow human, I'll require that person's life. Okay, verse 8. Yeah. Then God said to Noah and his sons with him, understand that I am establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, birds, livestock, and all wildlife of the earth that are with you, all the animals of the earth that come out of the ark. The covenant is with Noah and these
boys,
creatures.
Yeah, and creatures.
Yeah.
And Romans picks this up too.
It does. You're right.
So something is wrong with creation, right? Why you asked earlier, and gosh, I never answered it. Why do the animals die?
Yeah.
They're tied to us.
They are.
We're their stewards.
Yep.
As we go, so they go.
Yep. We are their kings.
We are, and we are terrible.
Yep.
So in Romans, it talks about the entire creation groans.
Yep.
For the revelation of the sons of God. Mm-hmm. So it's not talking about angels, but it's talking about us.
Yep.
Like the whole nature has fallen with us, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And so it wants to be right too.
It does. Yep.
And there's that weird talk. I said it was like Narnia. Mm-hmm. I actually think it's 50% chance because we got a talking snake.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what would you do if a snake came up and said, "Hey Justin, what's up?"
I'd have stomped that thing's head in, man.
Would you?
If it started talking to me?
You'd kill it? Or would you be like, I need to go to the doctor. I'm going insane.
I think I would be, maybe not a snake.
What if your dog?
Snakes would be different.
Yeah, because they're freaky.
Yeah. My initial thing with a snake is like, I got to kill this thing
Let's say
anyways.
you come over to my house and my dog goes, "Hey, Justin, what's up?"
I mean, I'd be pulling out my phone to take a video of it. Be like, what is happening right now?
I would immediately think I'd lost my mind.
Yeah.
But my point is, when the snake starts talking down to him, he doesn't go, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
Right? And then there's...
So you think it's like Narnia?
Yeah, I think it was like Narnia. Well, they've got another example.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Oh, the donkey?
Donkey. Balaam's donkey.
Yeah.
It says God loosed his tongue and he spoke.
So all along he was supposed to be able to be speaking?
Yeah, but because of the fall?
Yeah. We've talked about C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy some. The third book has some of that stuff in it.
Yeah.
You never read it. Yeah. You didn't finish it, but that's like an idea he talked about the same thing. So it's funny for you who hate C.S. Lewis so much, you sure do agree with him a lot on some of those things. There's like this bear that's like, who has been so like loved and nourished by like good people, that he's almost becoming more like sentient and human-like and stuff. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, it's fiction, folks. Okay. It's fiction.
Yeah.
All right. But that's like the little idea you're talking about there.
Yeah. I'm just saying that Balaam's donkey says, why are you beating me, man? I've always done right by you.
Yeah.
So all you mistreating your pets,
Don't do that,
you're going to
man.
go to judgment, and your dog's going to be like, he didn't even feed me.
He didn't like me.
He didn't let me in the garage when it was cold.
Oh man, you gotta take care of these.
Why would you do that?
You're in charge of them. You gotta take care of them.
You got to take care of them.
So we'll end with this. There's a covenant. I established my covenant with you that never again will every creature be wiped out by flood waters. There will never again be a flood to destroy the earth. Why has God not just kept on doing this thing? Because he said he wasn't going to do it.
But you'll notice there's a caveat here.
Yeah.
It's not going. The first is in flood, and the second's in fire.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So and you get the rainbow. Right, this is the sign
that's
of the
a funny
promise.
thing too.
Yeah.
We think about rainbows. It's been stolen, but the rainbow was like a bow.
Yeah, it's this war bow, man.
A war bow.
Yeah,
It's
it's
made
bow
of
and
light.
arrow. Yeah.
Yes, and it's made of light, and he hangs it in the sky. It's a bow.
Which means he's not gonna shoot at you.
He's not going to shoot it at us. It's pointed up.
Isn't that nice?
Yes, it's hung up in the sky.
Pointed up.
Yeah.
There might be something there.
I don't know. Yeah. So
Who
the
takes-
judgment to himself.
Yeah.
Oh man, we
Who
could go
takes
allegorical.
I know,
on that
right?
all day
I
long.
want to. That'll
wanna
preach,
do
man.
it. Well, hey, look, the school of Antioch in the ancient days be like,
think,
preach it, brother.
I think I've actually heard Tim Keller say that before, though.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he went there.
Oh,
He was not the late Tim Keller. God bless him, man. He's awesome. He was not afraid of some allegory in
wasn't.
the right moment. Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah,
It'll preach.
it will, and it's because the theme of it's true.
Yeah.
Right.
God hung up his bow,
Yeah.
but but God's bow is light. He's scary.
Yeah.
He's a superhero. Man.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Better than Superman. All right, everyone. I hope that was a helpful discussion of the flood and all the things surrounding it. If you have, if you've been offended by Brad,
Yes,
I want to let you know you have a way you can express that and ask questions and make your objections. You can dial 555-STOP.
Actually, if you want to do it, this is serious now. If you hate my guts,
Yeah.
you should let the world know and go comment on YouTube.
You
on
actually
our thing.
should.
You
yeah.
should.
Or you,
Like,
I also comment on Spotify, I think, too.
comment wherever you can.
Yeah.
Get on your keyboard warrior
Yeah.
and talk about how ridiculous I am.
Yeah, you could also, if you have if you think you know better, and you might. Okay, that's actually
right.
true. We are not the top of the line experts on everything.
We are
learners.
pretty good.
Yeah, we're also learners forever, though. If you think you know, then tell us. We'd
Yeah.
love to hear your explanation of these things.
Oh, just love it.
Yeah, I'd love it. And make us put a smile. We always interact.
I would almost bet you $5 though.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna say something I hadn't heard.
That's probably true. It is the Bible we're talking about.
Yeah.
Everything pretty much has been said before. So if you're watching on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. That helps a lot if you care about what you're hearing here. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can click follow. Please do that. Leave a review. If you think it's a 5-star podcast, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That'd help a lot. Helps get us in front of people when they search or when they're trying to find material like this that is helpful to them in their spiritual walk and understanding the Bible. So please do that. That is all for this week. Thanks for listening and watching.
Yeah, thanks.
See y'all.